Upon entering the Gables from the garden through its massive batten door, we pass through the central hallway and see Hepzibah's Scent Shop, a recreation of the small shop opened by Hawthorne's character Hepzibah Pynchon in his novel. In this way, the visitor can understand that the house has two distinct dimensions: the residence of the Turner and Ingersoll families from 1668 to 1882, and the setting of Hawthorne's famous story. Beyond the scent shop is the darkly paneled kitchen with its bake oven and fireback cast in 1662, which has been in the house since it was brought here by its builder, John Turner. It is one of only 5 cast at the nearby Saugus Ironworks, and it is one of the finest examples of its form to survive from that foundry. In this kitchen, too, the Turners' servants and West Indian slaves would have prepared meals for Salem's wealthiest household of the 1600s. From the kitchen, we pass through a dark passageway beside the great central chimney to the dining room. Here we leave the house's colonial past behind and see the remaining rooms as Hawthorne himself did. He often visited his cousin Susanna Ingersoll here in the 1830s and 40s. On the right, as we enter, we are met by Susanna's portrait as she appeared in about 1840. She was the last of the Ingersolls to live here, having inherited the house from her father, Captain Samuel Ingersoll, who had purchased it from the grandson of John Turner in 1782. From the age of 10, she had lived in this house and died here in 1852, unmarried, in the place she referred to as her prison. The dining room contains many reminders of Hawthorne's cousin. The chairs around the table were hers, as were many pieces of porcelain in the cupboard by the fireplace. Her father's maritime career is reflected in the abundance of blue and white Canton porcelain, and in the oriental paintings of Macau and Canton, the only 2 ports open to the China trade. It was often in this room that Susanna entertained her young cousin during his visits. She was surprised at his remark that there was nothing about which he could write. She suggested that he look around the room. Then, pointing to an ancient chair that had been in the family for generations, she suggested that he write about it, through the many people who had sat in it. The result was one of Hawthorne's most successful collection of children's stories, Tales of Grandfather's Chair. Most important, however, was a tour of the great house Susanna gave her cousin, during which she mentioned that it had 7 gables. Hawthorne was much taken by the idea and promised to make something of it. Game playing was the most popular pastime during Hawthorne's visits here. Whist, backgammon, chess, and checkers all helped to pass the evening hours. Nathaniel's checkerboard is in the dining room cupboard. Directly on the other side of the fireplace is a wood storage closet, which usually contained a large supply of seasoned firewood. But it was discovered in the 19th century to contain the entrance to a narrow, secret staircase. It rises up through the central chimney and leads to a room on the 3rd floor. Its real purpose we do not know. Was it used to hide a member of the Turner family who might have been accused of witchcraft in 1692? Might it have served as a cache for smuggled goods to avoid the high import taxes? Or perhaps it was part of the Underground Railroad by which runaway slaves were transported to Nova Scotia or New Brunswick to escape recapture. The staircase opens out into an attic chamber which closely resembles the room described in Hawthorne's novel as the bedroom of Clifford, Hepzibah's brother. In reality, however, it served as the chamber of Horace Connolly, Susanna's adopted son, whose dark and brooding portrait hangs near the fireplace. The garret beyond the chimney contains a variety of objects that would have been stored here by Susanna. Toys, though no children lived in the house at the time of Hawthorne's visits, and spinning wheels, long outdated in the sophisticated seaport of Salem. Perhaps most interesting of all is a wooden model of the house. It shows the evolution from John Turner's modest structure of 1668 to a more elaborate building by the 1680s. Finally, during the ownership of John Turner II, it became a veritable mansion, the only remaining example of such 17th century architecture in New England today.